Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to an old friend and a true star, Christopher Biggins. How are you?
I'm very, very well indeed, thank you. We've just done a matinee, which went really, really well. The audiences here are fantastic in Nottingham at the Theatre Royal. It's a great joy and an honour to be here in this 150th year of the theatre.
Funnily enough, the last time I was in this dressing room was with Ken Dodd, who was doing the 150th concert. He started his career in 1954 in Nottingham, at the theatre next door. I mean, there is something about a beautiful theatre that gives a show an extra edge, isn't there?
I mean, there really is. And there are beautiful theatres, and then there's the Theatre Royal Nottingham, which is unbelievably beautiful. And then there are some hideous theatres. And, I'm not going to mention them because, it would be very unfair. But, it's a joy to play here. And it's a joy to play all these types of theatres around the country. And there are quite a few of them, I'm pleased to say.
And here we are at Aladdin. I saw it last week for press night, and it is a truly spectacular show. And what steals the show is your costumes, let's face it. They've put a ton of money into this, haven't they?
They really have put a ton of money. I mean, I think it's great because we said, because it's the special birthday of the theatre, we want to make it very special. So, I mean, the effects, forgetting my costumes for a moment, the effects are amazing. I mean, the cobra at the beginning, the flying carpet, me flying in at the end in the curtain call, and then my costumes, which I think I can safely say they're the best costumes I've ever had in my whole career. So it's been fantastic.
And they do drive the show. I mean, every sort of 10 minutes you come on in a new costume, and it does take people's breath away. They're extraordinary. A few technical questions. How much do they weigh, and how tired are you after you've changed 13 of them?
Well, it is, if I'm not on stage doing my acting bit, I'm in the wings changing, and I've got two wonderful dressers who throw me in and out of these costumes. I mean, I don't know if they could put me in something that I wasn't supposed to be in and I still walk on stage. But no, we've got it down now to a fine art. We had a few glitches at dress rehearsals and things, and I thought, I'm not going to do these changes, but we do them, and they're fantastic. I mean, I tell you what I love is the bush that removes our clothes, because I tell you why that's so good, because it's an old-fashioned pantomime sketch, which I think they're dying out now. I mean, people say to me, why don't you do slapstick? And of course, why don't we do slapstick? I mean, there's so many problems because the stage gets wet and people could slip, and the microphones could get damaged and all those sort of things. But I'm pleased that we're bringing back the old-fashioned stuff. It's great.
Yes, I thought your bush was one of the most impressive things in the musical. The other thing I loved about the show was your wishy-washy, who's tremendous in this, and he does a thing where he tells a story through packets of different things. I won't give it away. Again, they're the backbone of Panto. Those are the bits you remember.
Absolutely. Ben Nicholas is just fantastic. I mean, he's a wonderful comic, and he really thinks about what he's doing, and he's great, and he's very, very clever. And that particular sequence, you're right. And then I ask him to explain what's gone on, and he tells me in about 3 minutes everything that's gone on so far in the first act. So no, I think we're blessed with a wonderful cast. I mean, we've got the most wonderful Simon Webb, who's his first, a virgin to pantomime, who I think is brilliant. We've got a marvellous Scheherazade. James Barron as the villain is sensational. I mean, his number at the opening of Act 2 is just breathtaking. I mean, there's so much in it. The kids are wonderful. The boys and girl dances are wonderful. Everything. I mean, it's a real value for money pantomime.
I always think Panto's a bit like the producers in real life. If it's done badly, it would be terrible. But if it's done properly, it's just magnificent.
It is. And I think Kudos, who I work for, are the best pantomime producers ever. I mean, and they pull out all the stops, and they certainly have this year. It's been wonderful.
Let's talk about you. So much has happened since we last spoke. We did this wonderful hour special for the BBC just a few years ago, and since then we have to talk about Friends. It's been an awfully difficult year. Two of the most important people in your life, Cilla and Jackie Collins, we lost. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing well, and Linda Bellingham too. I mean, in the last 2 years, I've lost about 80 friends, and I put it down to the fact that I've getting older, and also that I have too many friends. But it has been absolutely ghastly, I can't tell you. And especially Cilla and Linda and Jackie. I mean, I saw Jackie, literally, she was at Jones Collins's damehood party. And I spoke to her for a good half an hour, and we had a laugh, and she was great. And then she came back and did Loose Women, and I rang a friend and said, I think she's had some terrible work done. Never occurred to me she was ill. I thought she'd had some awful plastic surgery done. And of course, after that interview, she went back to America, she went to bed, and she died. I mean, and nobody knew. And I think it was great that nobody knew, because that's what Jackie wanted. I mean, a lot of her friends said, oh, this is terrible, how dare she not tell us? But that's her prerogative, and I stand by her. Linda Bellingham, of course, that was so tragic. I mean, a friend of mine for so long. And then Cilla Black. I mean, I still keep thinking I must ring Cilla. And then I think, well, I can't because she's not there. And we always used to finish off our conversations. I used to say to her, well, okay, see you next week, and love you very much. And she used to say, love you more. And the phone would go down. And I really missed that. And then every year at Christmas time, in the pantomime, she used to send me flowers. And of course, they didn't arrive this year. So it was a sadness.
Did you say 80 people you've lost?
80 people. I mean, I think that the trouble is there's lots of, most of the people I know were cancer. My best girlfriend in the world was alcohol. I mean, there are so many things now that take people away. It's terrifying. I mean, that's why I do so much for charity, because we need to resolve all these problems that there are in the world, and there are so many.
Do you view it that you've been gifted with the presence of these people, and that's how you get through your day? Because if not, it would be awfully depressing.
It would be depressing. And no, you're absolutely right. I mean, the joy that I've had with everybody, the people that I know who are no longer with us, has been phenomenal. I mean, it's the laughs that we've had, the sad times, the good times, the bad times, everything about it has been wonderful. And I would never have missed it. And I'm really lucky to be blessed with a huge amount of fantastic friends.
You've had such an amazing career in life. As you look back, as you sit here at this point, starring in a pantomime, you're still at it. Again, you've beaten the odds. You're still in work, and you're still here, and you're still current and relevant.
I know. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I suppose the current and relevance thing has to be put down to I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, which, believe it or not, is 8 years ago. I mean, people say to me, oh, we love you. Still, we loved you in the jungle. And I say it was 8 years ago. They said, no, don't be silly, it can't be. Well, of course it was. And that was a turning point in my career. I mean, I'd done everything by then. And then suddenly winning and finding the love and affection of the whole country practically behind me was just phenomenal. I mean, it was extraordinary. And I'm still living off it, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and we do need to be a bit real in this interview, because I interviewed you just shortly afterwards, a couple of weeks, and I walked past you, I didn't recognise you, were so thin. Christopher, we've been on the burgers again, haven't we?
We have, oh dear. I know, I think go back to the jungle immediately and lose weight. Terrible.
What is it? I mean, I'm a guy who can't eat carbs. If I do, I put on 3 stone by tomorrow. I mean, I've always been fat. I have to fight every day. Is it something you worry about and need to take care of? Because we don't want to lose you to a heart attack.
No. I mean, no, you don't have to worry at all, because within that I know that I'm healthy. I mean, I when my girlfriend, who died of alcoholism nearly 2 years ago, I gave up alcohol, and I went also to my doctor to have an MOT, and everything was fine. She said, your liver, just a little bit. She said, how much do you drink? And I said, well, probably 2 bottles a night. And she said, so do you want to lie in your bed dribbling, or do you want to die in your bed? And I said, point taken. So, no, we went out, a few of us. James Barron had his mother and father in last night, Keith Barron. So we went for a meal, and it took ages to order, and we ate about 4 baskets of bread, which of course is ridiculous, because then when the meal comes, you You're too full up. Oh, the bread was delicious though. It was really good.
And as we sit here starring in pantomime, sell-out audiences, Nottingham's one of the most desirable pantos to be in. How do you view yourself? Because from my perspective, you're a legend. I think we sat in this dressing room 20 years ago, more or less doing the same interview about you in pantomime, and I probably asked you the same question.
Well, I think I have achieved a lot. And funnily enough, I've been thinking in the last couple of days that this is the best pantomime I've ever done. I think I've had the best reviews that I've ever had. And, you know, unless Kudos take this pantomime in everything in it, with the same cast, with one or two exceptions, perhaps, if they've got to go somewhere else, that would be great. But if they don't, I might say enough's enough. I think I may say my pantomime career is over, because I don't want to be carried on by a couple of male dancers like certain people I knew happened to, or, you know, not be able to give the goods. I mean, I think it's so special. And you know, I'll be 67 next week, and that means I'll be 68 the following year. I mean, it's just, I would quite like to have Christmas at home, you know, and
that was the point of I'm a Celebrity, wasn't it? That was to give you a year off, because you were doing pantomime before it was cool. Let's remember that. This has been your life.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think this is going into my 40th year of pantomime, and I remember when I was first asked by Dougie Squires and Jamie Phillips to go to Darlington to do pantomime. I said, don't be so stupid, how dare I'm an actor. I don't go. And then they mentioned money, and they kept putting the money up, and I thought, well, I better do this, because it was such a lot of money in those days, and I never looked back. I absolutely loved it. It's been great.
And it's your theory then you should leave the party before everyone else. You don't want to be the guy who's given the bad reviews because you went on too long.
I honestly would hate it if I got bad reviews, if I couldn't do what I do now. And I think it would be marvellous to finish. What a way to finish in this wonderful theatre, this special event, 150th birthday, in a pantomime that I think is wonderful, and reviews like I could have written myself. So why would I bother?
I don't know anybody in the business who embraces life more than you and enjoys it. People take it so bloody seriously, don't they?
They really do. They really do. And I do enjoy it. And we have such a laugh, and that's what you've got to do. And so I would hate it. I would hate it to become laborious. And funnily enough, I talked to my best friend Leslie Joseph this morning, and she sort of agreed with me, and I think she, you know, may do the same thing. I mean, it's you know, we love it so much. We don't want to do it any less than what we can do at our best.
I was talking to Ian McKellen about this recently, and it's very interesting, as you mentioned, being a gay man in the business. So much has changed. Do you think it's inspiring now that it is no longer an issue whether you're gay or straight? People don't care, or is it still a problem but we don't talk about it?
No, it's not a problem. And I think there are more people in television who are gay than ever before. I mean, it's extraordinary. I mean, the pink television is alive and well and living, and radio. And so, no, it's great. I mean, I remember when I was I had two children's shows. One was called On Safari and the other one was called Rent-A-Ghost. And you had to be really careful in those days because, you know, being gay was thought to be a paedophile. And, you know, they didn't know the difference. You know, people were ignorant. So you had to be very, very careful. But now I've always been myself. I've always maintained that. And I mean, I feel sorry for people who haven't come out in our industry because I think they can't really have a proper life.
So what was it? Was it Auntie Vi? Was it Mum? Who was it who gave you this power to be you? Because ultimately that's the hardest thing if you're going against the tide of what's popular at that point.
Well, I think my parents definitely enabled me to do whatever I wanted to do, which was fantastic of them, and they were wonderful. Auntie Vi was marvellous. I've got a lot to say about Auntie Vi. I had a trifle.
Don't start on that. We did 20 minutes on that last time.
I know. I was robbed by Celebrity MasterChef because they said it was too easy. Who said that Celebrity MasterChef have to be easy? Difficult, rather. So, no, I mean, I don't know where it comes from, but I'm thrilled that I am who I am.
Were you ever turned down for work? Did anybody ever talk to you about it? Or the fact that you were so confident, did that sort of override all that stuff?
Well, I'm not aware of being turned down for work. I mean, I'm sure I have been, but still, work comes in, I mean, during this run on our Monday off, I'm going up to interview all the new Big Brother celebrities going into the house, so that is going to be fantastic. And there's things happening all the time, and it's exciting. And the other thing that perhaps I might not come back to pantomime is that I want to do more traveling. I want to see the world. There are all sorts of things I want to do. I want to be with my partner Neil more. So there's a lot of things, a lot of pluses.
I'm very sorry to hear that we might not see you again in these frocks, because you are truly the greatest dame. You've been doing it longer than anyone else, and you're still here surviving. And I know it's been a tough year, and we thank you for coming to Nottingham, because you are truly a star. Christopher Biggins, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.